Well, good morning, everybody. It's 10:15 and it's time for Sunday service today. And I'm Louise Dobbs, Minister of Music, and I'm really happy to be here. We're going to do a song, but how about a stretch first? Kim is out of town, and so I am going to lead us off here. Now, this song, I'm going to put it in the chat so you can follow along. It's called I Release and I Let Go. It's pretty simple, a lot of repeating, and it's written by the great Ricky Byers, who is the song leader and choir leader at the Agape Church. She's written a lot of fabulous music. I release and I let go. I let spirit run my life, and my arms are open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Now you can sing along with me at home. I wish we could sing together, but we just can't on Zoom. I release and I let go. I let spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the spirit. I am only here for God.
Thank you, Louise Dobbs, Director of Music at the Church in Ocean Park. I'm the minister at the Church in Ocean Park. My name is Janet McKithen, and I welcome you to this unique interfaith, multi-faith community that is dedicated to social justice. You might be wondering if we are here to coerce you into being something different than you are. And I can assure you that we are not here to convert you. We are here to learn from you and to be in community together. You have come to a multiple faith space. We are Jewish, Muslim, Buddhist, Christian, atheist. Some folks combine some of these, and some people are something else altogether. You're welcome if you're single, if you're married, if you're gay, transgender, very rich, or not sure which bills you're going to pay this month. You're welcome if you're fidgety, if you're very focused, if you just woke up or just got out of jail. We don't care if you're more religious than the Pope, or if you haven't been to church since you were dragged as a little kid and you're not sure how you got here this morning. You're welcome if you're a tree hugger, a latte sipper, vegan, or just a junk food eater. We welcome those who are in recovery or still addicted. We welcome you if you're having problems or you're down in the dumps. We welcome you if you don't like organized religion or you do. We welcome you if you're pierced or inked or both. And we offer a special invitation for those who could use a prayer right now, or those who had bad religion shoved down their throats as a kid. We welcome optimists, pessimists, seekers, and doubters. We welcome you. Welcome to the Church in Ocean Park. We are a more complete community because all of you are here, whether you've been here many times or this is your first time. We are more complete with you here. We are a diverse group, so you might hear something that you disagree with, and just know that your voice is just as important as the person who's speaking. And if you would like to speak more about that during the week, we will set up a special time where we can have a longer conversation. At this time, I invite us to pause for a moment to acknowledge that we are on stolen land. The church in Ocean Park in Santa Monica sits on land stolen violently from the Quiche, the Chumash, and the Tongva. Torn apart and dispersed, and many were annihilated, though many are still living among us, and for that we are grateful. We are also living in a country that was built on the backs and through the enslavement of Black people who were stolen from Africa. So we pause for a moment and we recognize where we sit so that we know that we must act. Let's pause for a moment. This is an important week in the Islamic faith tradition. This weekend, Muslims in the United States and around the world are celebrating Eid al-Adha, which translates literally to Holiday of the Sacrifice. This holiday is tied to the Hajj, which some of you might remember hearing about last year, the pilgrimage to Mecca that is one of the 5 pillars of Islam and marks this holiday marks Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son to God. So this is a time of sacrifice as well. So we mark those times, but today we are excited and happy that we are going to discuss mental health, because as you know, mental health issues have not gotten better. They've been exacerbated during COVID, and with all of the recent things that are happening in our nation and in our world, it's something we need to talk about. So we're very lucky that Sharon Dunas is with us, and she will be introduced at a later time, but welcome to the church in Ocean Park.
Now it is my pleasure to introduce my friend, Ellen Hers Silverman, excuse me. She's also known as Canyon Ellen. She was born in New York City, the only child of European refugees. She and her husband, Stuart, moved to Pacific Palisades in 1981, following living in Baltimore, Boston, and Philadelphia. They have 2 children and 6 grandchildren. Ellen's an occupational therapist. She loves people and nature and enjoys writing and singing songs about the frustrations and joys of technology and our times. I've asked her to come sing this song today. I've heard this song, and I loved singing with her with this song at song circles we were both at. And I couldn't wait to share this song with the church. So also I want to say that Ellen, along with another fellow friend of mine, Chuck Behrman, leads the Friday night, first Friday of every month. Oh, is it first Saturday? First Saturday of every month, Santa Monica Traditional Folk Music Club, which Ross Altman is the president of, but no longer can lead. And we're grateful for Ellen for leading that. So please welcome Ellen Silverman.
Hi everybody. Please feel free. I'm sorry I didn't post the chorus, but once I sing it once, you'll be able to follow along. So, God is crying. She's shedding tears of rain. God is crying. Can't you feel the pain? It's up to man to fix the land. It's up to man to try to understand. And you can sing along in this part. Tear down the walls, see the other side. Tear down the walls and end the fight. Some walls walls are made of leaves. Some walls are made of stone. Some walls, they make us all alone. Everyone, tear down the walls. See the other side. Tear down the walls and end the fight. Some walls come with the land. Some walls are built by men. Some walls are in the mind. The other side is hard to find. Tear down the walls. See the other side. Tear down the walls and end the fight. God is crying, shedding tears of rain. God is crying. Can't you feel the pain? Last time, sing along. Tear down the walls. See the other side. Tear down the walls and end the fight. Thank you.
Beautiful.
It is now my great pleasure to introduce someone who has been tearing down the walls that separate us and that, inhibit us as far as the mental illness phenomenon is concerned. So Sharon Dunas has dedicated herself to help families survive the emotional trauma of mental illness. As a therapist, Sharon helps families gain knowledge and understanding and adapt to the trauma of having mental illness in a loved one. Sharon also specialized in training trauma and addiction. She became the executive director of the National Alliance on Mental Illness. The National Alliance on Mental Illness. She has been the executive director of NAMI, LA County from 2008 to 2013. She is a NAMI state family-to-family trainer, and she has done 20 trainings for NAMI, LA County. She is in the NAMI Family-to-Family Hall of Fame for teaching over 20 family-to-family 8-week psychobiological education courses. In 2017 to 2022, the present time, she has been the president of NAMI Westside LA, where she co-wrote a business plan for NAMI Los Angeles County in 2010. She also presented this to the Los Angeles Department of Mental Progress up to the present time. The proposal she submitted was called Los Angeles County Alliance for the Mentally Ill and for Mentally Ill Services. It focused on reducing mental health stigma and discrimination. The LA Department of Mental Health accepted that proposal. It has put NAMI LA County under the DMH contract The first year in 2011, NAMI LA County received over 500,000 from LA DMH, that is Department of Mental Health, to offer NAMI classes and programs. And this contract continues to this day. Sharon Dunas is also the beneficiary of many community and state mental health awards. And Don Richardson Distinguished Mental Health Award. She received the Family Advocate Award from the Psychiatric Education Research Foundation of Los Angeles. Oh, I can go on and go on. She's really an expert.
No, I think that's enough. I think you've given enough. So thank you
we
so
welcome
much.
you. We welcome you to our
Thank you. Thank
service
you.
today.
So it is such a treasure to be here with all of you today. I have such respect for all of you participating in this church that honors social justice and tries to find ways to provide social justice for the many groups of humans in America that really struggle having and knowing social justice. So I'm here to talk about one of those groups, and that's the group of individuals who are diagnosed with mental illness and their families. You know, I was just thinking about Chicago on the July 4th parade. And here's what he said. He said, "I did nothing wrong. I'm not at fault. I thought my son was taking all these guns out to the shooting range. I did nothing wrong. I'm not bad." He offered no acknowledgement for the people who were killed and felt sorry. He offered no acknowledgement about his son's psychological and emotional traumas. The cops had been to that house 3 times before the July 4th shooter shot up those people. And they found at the house, the last time they were there, the boy had 60 knives because he was talking about knifing everyone. Why didn't this dad and the uncle who lived with them go for treatment? Why didn't they find help? Because they don't understand how serious mental illness is, and they don't know where to go for how to get help. And a lot of parents don't want their kids to be put at the back of the bus. They don't want them diagnosed with a mental illness. So they just sort of flush it under the rug, and this too shall pass. You know, there really is no health without mental health. When mental illness strikes a family, it is as if the life that they had planned has to be given up, and they have to experience the life that is waiting for them with mental illness in their midst. That is a quote from Joseph Campbell. Those of you who remember who he is, The Power of the Myth, and Joseph Campbell received several Emmys for his show on PBS about the myths that run through our lives. And you know, Oliver Sacks, who's also a very famous neurologist, says, "Ask not what disease your relative has. Don't do that. Ask what disease has kidnapped your relatives." You know, to quote Nora Ephron, she says, when mental illness strikes a family, it is as if someone threw a hand grenade into that family. It's like going over Niagara Falls without a safety net. You know, and the stigma is so intense around mental illness that parents don't take their young children for diagnosis or for treatment because they don't want their young children or their teenage children with a diagnosis. You know, there are symptoms that are so obvious that are mental illness. If you have a relative, a young adult who has rage attacks, extreme temper tantrums, unpredictable overreactions, obsession with their own activities, obsessions with someone else, pursuits with inflated self-concept, forgetfulness, constantly losing things, vigilant, devastated by peer disapproval, self-injury, isolation, and withdrawal. There's so many negative symptoms of mental illness too, but early interventions can prevent lifelong chronic mental illness. So when mental illness strikes a family, families experience post-traumatic stress disorder. They have experienced a sudden, intense, catastrophic event with absolutely no preparation. There's no preparation in America that prepares families how to have mental illness. They are the last disenfranchised population in America. They are the most neglected. They are forgotten. And we forget them and we let them live in dung heaps on the streets and fall to their death as a homeless person. I think most of homeless people had family members at one time that really tried to help them, but the family members finally would and has something called anonosia, which is lack of insight into the fact that they are ill. So what really happens with family members is they carry great guilt. I caused this illness. Parents don't cause mental illness. And they carry shame. Guilt is, I am a mistake. I made mistakes. Shame is, guilt is, I'm making mistakes. I'm making mistakes. And shame is, I am a mistake. I shouldn't have been a parent at all. Parents do not cause mental illness. Mental illnesses are coming from many different sources. Crystal meth, crack cocaine, and marijuana today cause psychosis. They are some of the most serious causes of mental illness. So, and eventually what happens to families is they go into chronic grief. Grief that the child they were expecting, the child expected their child to live in Italy, the child's living in Amsterdam. It's a narcissistic wound that parents sometimes cannot really face. They can't really face it very well. So what do? Why didn't the dad go for help? If he had known about the National Alliance on Mental Illness at Westside LA or any of the affiliate NAMIs throughout the nation, it's all over the nation, it's in most of Western Europe, that father and uncle could have gotten help. Debbie, a friend of mine is here with us, Debbie Brazil, who helps me with NAMI support groups. Debbie, could you put the website of NAMI LA in the chat? And if you really want to learn a lot about NAMI LA, you can do it in this chat. The best thing about NAMI, any NAMI, is when families go into it and individuals who get a diagnosis, who are absolutely shattered with their self-esteem because of the diagnosis. Just imagine if a doctor said life and you're going to have to take meds all your life. These are such catastrophic, devastating diagnoses that they can cause someone to be suicidal or whatever. So NAMI, the best thing about NAMI is families go to NAMI and peers go to NAMI, those with the diagnosis. People don't feel alone anymore. They're not alone. They're not isolated anymore. They have a community like your community this Sunday morning. And there's a great education for them, free education, free speaker meetings with the top psychiatrists, psychologists, and mental health treatment clinics in the county. They can give up shame and guilt in NAMI and learn that they're not at fault for the illness of their young adult child or their spouse or their sibling or parents. You know, young people who have moms with couldn't get the moms well. You know, mental illness has a life of its own, like any disease process. And even though you love someone deeply and you learn all the tools that NAMI offers about communication, about making space for the illness, backing off and learning to do reflective listening. So you think you're being persecuted by the FBI. I'm so sorry you have that experience. Is there any way that I can help you? Rather than challenging the mentally ill person, delusions or hallucinations, because you can't change anybody's hallucinations or delusions by challenging them. If you reflect back what they're talking about, that individual may feel understood and be more likely to be compliant with treatment. People can recover from mental illness if they have three things. If they have a positive experience with medication, if they have an individual who loves them that's not a family member, who they can talk to and be vulnerable with, a rabbi, a minister, a therapist, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a best friend, a neighbor, someone else that they're close to that cares if they live or die and listens to them. And the third thing is if they have an educated, supportive family. And that's what NAMI does. NAMI educates and supports that family. It educates at a very high level. A very high level. The parents are taught so much information that they're very empowered. They know how to talk to psychiatrists. They know how to talk to social workers when their relative is put in the hospital. There's an article in the LA Times today, front page article. I want you to read it. Promise of state mental health fixed stays unfixed. We passed something called the millionaire's tax in 1963, where we tax all millionaires 1%. This fund now has billions of dollars, and it's been dispersed to the counties, but most of the counties have not used the funds. I think really because of bureaucratic red tape. There's so much bureaucratic tape to get any program going for the mentally ill. And it's just sitting there in counties' budgets. The Department of Mental Health in LA County has an over $1 billion budget. It's one of the biggest Department of Mental Health in the entire nation. And it unfortunately only serves the most chronically mentally ill and the most severe poor people in the county. It doesn't serve middle class people. It doesn't serve people that can pay for services. And what's really happening with mental health treatment, psychiatrists, and every volunteer in NAMI is a caring, compassionate person, just like the people in this church that sing and volunteer and share. Everyone here is so compassionate too. It is a place where families and individuals with a diagnosis can get understanding, can get treatment, and get an education, and feel cared for, and feel seen. So if you want to learn any more about NAMI, we have free classes, free support groups, and free speaker meetings. We know how expensive mental illness is for the average family. So NAMI offers everything for free. Everything. High-level education. Just go on our website. We have a speaker meeting the first Wednesday of every month. We had Mental Health Awareness Month all through May. We had events all the month. It's a book, if you're interested in mental illness, you could all buy. And the title of the book is, and maybe Debbie, you can put this book in the chat. It's I'm Not Sick, I Don't Need Help by Dr. Xavier Amador. I'm going to repeat that title. I'm Not Sick, I Don't Need Help by Dr. Xavier Amador. And another really great book is a rebellious journey to new frontiers, How to Treat Psychosis by Dr. Mark Reagans, who ran the village in Long Beach for 30, 40 years. I now think he is a professor at Long Beach State. And his book is so illuminating. And had I read these books as a young person, both of my parents were mentally ill. My daughter developed a serious mental illness when she was in an Easter college and almost died from anorexia, bulimia. These books as a young woman, I would have had a much better quality of life. And had there been a NAMI when I was a young woman, I would have had a much better quality of life than I had taking care of all of the mentally ill people in my family. And thank you for having me this morning. It's an honor to be with you. It's an absolute joy to pass on the knowledge of NAMI to all of you. The National Alliance on Mental Illness, Westside LA, is where you can find services. Don't go into NAMI National because you kind of get lost in the nation, but come to our local affiliate that you're close to, NAMI Westside LA. www.namila.org. And I see hands up, and Janet and I are supposed to call on these hands, or I'm quite sure you take over the meeting at this time.
Right, that's right. And we thank you so much, Sharon, for your message, and we will.
Okay.
Yeah, right now I've asked Larry Dilge, our friend who leads some of our services with music sometimes, and I'll mention something else, but I've asked Larry to sing a song now to precede community sharing. Larry, welcome.
Thanks. My father could use a little mercy now. The fruits of his labor fall and rot slowly on the ground. His work is almost over. It won't be long. I love my father. He could use some mercy now. My brother could use a little mercy now. He's a stranger out of freedom. He's shackled to his fear and his doubt. The pain that he lives in is almost more than living will allow. I love my brother. He could use some mercy now. My church and my country could use a little mercy now. As they sink into a poison pit that's gonna take forever to climb out. They carry the weight of the faithful that follow them down. I love my church and country. It could use some mercy now. Yeah. Every living thing could use a little mercy now. Can end the race to another mushroom cloud. People in power, they'll do anything to keep their crown. What do we know? I love life, and life itself could use some mercy now. Yeah, we all could use a little mercy now. I know we don't deserve it, but we need it anyhow. Between hell and hallowed ground, and every single one of us could use some mercy now. Every single one of us could use some mercy now. Every single one of us could use some mercy now.
Thank you so much, Larry, and we especially thank Sharon Dunas for that wonderful message for the topic that we have before us today. So now is our time for sharing views or may even bring suggestions to enrich our understanding of this important topic. So I saw, first of all, Craig Ali.
Thank you, sir. Very eye-opening presentation, and it allows me to think back that when groups speak of reparations, the automatic knee-jerk response is, well, how much money is going to be coming? Never is it being taken into consideration, the whole healing process of those who are abusers and those who are abused. And I'm wondering specifically, when I look at, just the events of this week, the Prime Minister of Japan was shot. Someone who was mental. By that same token, the incident which you spoke of, the young child who had issues was taken into custody without incident. Also, within that same, I guess you could say 24 to 48 hour period, a young black man who didn't, create any mass murder, simply trying to evade the police, was gunned down by more than 60 shots. So my question becomes, to those, is there a, I guess you could say, clinical apparatus that looks at law enforcement who are armed, just what their mental state is, and how often is it checked, and what it is we, as people who are victimized, can do, in the way of making a case clinically to those that folks who are abusive. If indeed there is such a study, and if there is indeed such an exercise that can be looked at with any due respect.
Okay, Sharon, you have a comment on that?
Well, I know of no such exercise that evaluates police performance across the nation. Uh, the National Alliance on Mental Illness has a program of crisis involvement with mental illness for police. And I know in LA County, we have taught most of the police, really by other mentally ill people who've been arrested, how to relate to them, how to recognize who they are. But I know of no national program that's looking at all the data. I'm sure there is that, but I don't know of it. And, policemen are just people. All my adult life. And my own daughter becomes mentally ill when she's in high school. I thought she was just a hostile, bratty adult, teenager. No, she was developing a serious mental illness, and I didn't recognize it. So if I, as a therapist, don't recognize it in my own daughter, you can imagine what other parents and other family members, like this man, the father of the kid in Chicago, should have recognized that his son needs treatment. He is seriously mentally ill and needs treatment, but he didn't. All he did was talk about himself, and he was very involved with himself. He had no conscious knowledge of the anguish or pain his son was going through.
If I may, is there a thing that you can advise us to keep us protected, or to defend ourselves from that type of behavior? What can we do who are abused by it? How can we, Is there something? I'm asking.
I mean,
Mm.
I think whatever the cops ask of you, even though it's unreasonable, you should do it immediately. Just do what the cops ask. Don't run. Don't resist. It's sort of like if you're held up by thieves in the street, they say if you don't resist and give everything to the thief, your ring, your cell phone, you have a much greater chance of living than if you resist. So I see Abby's hand up and a Rachel.
Yes. Abby?
Yeah, there were two. I'm the sole survivor of my family of origin, and two of us were mentally ill. My sister, anorexia, and my father, well, senility, I guess you'd say. And people just didn't know how to support us. We didn't know how to get help. But what I really want to talk about is mental health is something that everybody at times needs to attend to. I mean, it's not like there's those sickies over there and we're the normies. There's even a Dodger superstar who has a PSA about this. You know, if you feel anxious and overwhelmed, call this number. And I wondered what you and NAMI would have to say about that, and that we all of us have to attend to our mental health at some point.
I would say yes, that you're totally right. There isn't any one of us, including myself, that doesn't need sometimes some exposure to mental health counselors, psychiatrists, problems my whole life. This is going to make you laugh. So I take trazodone to sleep. And you do too? Somebody's raising their hand. Yes. So anyway, my dogs have been barking too much in the apartment I live in. So I took them to a vet, and the vet prescribed trazodone for them. So my dogs are now on trazodone, which is an antidepressant to keep them calm, So even animals need mental health treatment. And you're so right. We all need mental health treatment at some times in our lives. What a wise thing you offered to us this morning. Thank you, Abby.
Okay, Rachel, and then Gail.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. In your presentation, you mentioned a couple of illicit drugs that you feel contribute to mental health issues.
Yes.
Methamphetamines, and then you said marijuana.
Yes.
Anecdotally, after having been molested at the age of 13 and 14 years old by a religious leader, marijuana was very, very useful for me to keeping it all together. And I also anecdotally know of folks who have used marijuana to great effect for their own personal mental health issues.
You obviously, Rachel Rose, do not have a vulnerable brain. You're not vulnerable to mental illness and psychosis. I would say, 60% of people can use marijuana. I would also say that half of the parents in NAMI sent their kids away to college. The kids smoked marijuana and came home with a psychotic illness, and they can't get out of the psychosis. And after you've been delusional or having hallucinations for 3 weeks, we label that schizophrenia. And and they have schizophrenia issues. Schizophrenia is a thought disorder. Bipolar disorder is a disorder of mood. It's a mood disorder.
I would be very interested in seeing the scientific research behind
there's quite a bit today.
The proof that marijuana brings on psychosis.
Yeah.
I just don't believe that that's the case with the if you're saying that become psychotic. We
I
have
said I'm not
literally
sure of the statistic.
we,
I'm
we
not
have,
sure of that.
well
It
you
just
you
seems like, in my experience with working with families with mental illness, it's
well
about that.
you stated a statistic, and now you're saying you're not sure of that statistic.
No,
Uh,
I didn't state it as a statistic. I said I would say.
I s- okay.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
not a statistic, dear.
Yeah, I'm just not in agreement with you, and I would need to see the data on that, real scientific data on that, because
Yes, I think one day you will see that and you can disagree with me.
okay,
And thank you for sharing. I'm so glad it's been so helpful for you. So
Okay,
glad.
that's questionable. Let's hear what Gail has to contribute.
You're muted.
Unmute. You're
I know.
muted.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. There I am. Takes me a little moment. I'm the daughter of a psychiatrist who was the son of a mentally ill, psychotic father, who I never knew. He died before I was born. But, what I wanted to say is, even though I grew up in this home where mental illness was not considered to be something shameful, in fact, quite the opposite. And my dad was a strong member and supporter of NAMI, by the way.
Wow, good for your father. He was
yeah.
aware.
Yeah. Oh, totally. From my early teenage years, I was suffering deeply from major depression. My mother passed away when I was 10, and then I have the family history. But even though my family, it was considered to be, a good thing to get help,
Yeah.
I didn't think I could.
Wow.
It took me a long time before I felt like I can go and get some help. Somehow in my mind, I thought, well, I must be making it up because my dad's a psychiatrist. He would know, he would do something. Well, I think he did the best he could. But he himself was severely depressed after my mom passed away.
So
I'm just saying that it's, even with somebody who has those kinds of messages and the shame of it and
yeah, thank you for sharing.
is so powerful.
Thank you for sharing. It is so powerful. Have these mental health issues they don't feel like whole people.
Right.
They don't, you obviously didn't feel entitled to go for help. You didn't have a sense of entitlement that you deserved help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't know where to go. It's like, well, those are people, my dad's colleagues, I can't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I wish we had billboards across the nation about NAMI.
Yeah.
So people knew where to go. People knew where to connect.
Yeah.
I wish we had billboards, and NAMI Westside LA did try to advertise. We advertised on bus benches, and there were always people sitting on the bus benches. So no one ever saw these advertisements about NAMI and call NAMI. I just have to tell you guys, when I first started in NAMI in 1998, after my daughter was sick, I put a little NAMI Has Answers, free class. And the day of the class, I got 60 calls of people that wanted to take the class, which was in the old Pico Mall there, the Pico Mall, in the community room. And it was a huge class.
Yeah.
So the need
thank
is
you
so
for
great.
your work.
Well, thank you for sharing, being vulnerable with us. What a gift.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now we have, I think we are able to get one more in. I see Debbie had her hand up.
Yeah, thank you for having us here today. I came along with Sharon Dunas, and I am a mother of children that have mental health conditions, and NAMI has been a tremendous support for me. And I just wanted to once again thank you all for having us here. One of our principles of support is we never give up hope. And it's really an honor for us to be here with the church, because we know that to get help, and they'll come to the church for support. And some churches may think, well, it's all in your head, and if you just maybe read your Bible or pray or do this or something else, you'll be okay. But it's really wonderful to be with a church that's enlightened and aware of mental health conditions, social issues, and that you all are willing to have us here and then be able to offer hope to your congregants who find themselves in a mental health crisis. Because again, like I said, we don't give up hope. We believe that recovery is possible. We don't want people living years with depression or anxiety out of embarrassment or shame or feeling that it's a moral failure. But recognizing, just as you'd go to the doctor if you needed some medication for diabetes, you would go to the doctor to get help to sleep or to reduce your depression. And so there's hope, there's no shame, there's no stigma. We know it's there, but we are trying to fight that stigma and advocate. So again, I'm honored to be here with Sharon. I love NAMI. Everything we offer is free of charge to families, to individuals. I've been dropping links throughout this meeting in the chat, but you can go on. We have archived messages from psychiatrists, professors, family members. You can get so much information, and we just want you to know that there is hope, there's no shame, there's no embarrassment, there's no stigma. We're here to support you. And thank you for having us at your church this morning and offering hope to your community. So thank you.
Thank you, Debbie, for sharing all that. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for a very informative and encouraging conversation.
All right, so now is the time we get to unmute and have a chaotic goodbye, because we hold hands across the world, across the nation, and with people that we don't like and don't appreciate and that we never know, all those people and us. And we hold hands with all of them. We say together, carry on. 1, 2, 3.
Carry on!
Carry on!
Carry on.
Carry on.
Carry on.
Harriet.